Welcome to Let's Make a Game Platformer, episode 17. In last episode, I've added this timer here, displayed at the top, as well as the score label here, which displays the score of the player. At the moment, the only way to increase the score or modify the score is to finish a level. So, as you can see, after I went through the exit portal, it increased the score by 1000, and the timer is restarted because all the entities, once again, are being destroyed whenever a level is unloaded, and are being recreated, including the time entity, which is the former time entity here is recreated, and the timer starts from 0 once again. In this episode, I'll be adding a lives display. So whenever a player is created, it will start with a set amount of lives. I'll start with 5. And whenever a player dies, like for example drops here, rather than going to the main screen, it will decrease the amount of lives the player has and restart the level from the beginning. And only when the hearts drop to 0, the number of hearts drops to 0, the game will exit to this screen, main menu screen. Okay, so I started off by creating these two icons here, hard and hard empty. That's going to be displayed on the top left corner. And let me just fix one thing that last time I said that I will check. Instead of fill X, it should be expand X. That way the score label will be moved to the right. Let me show you in a moment here. So score is displayed to the right. This one displayed on the right to the left. So we specify that we want to be in the center. Okay, so let me start off by creating a new package here. Let's call it health, because we'll later on introduce health once we get some enemies that's going to be shooting some missiles at us. So I'll create a lives component, which is going to extend component, and we'll get a get lives count and also set lives count. Next, we'll modify the player prefab to have this component, and by default we'll set it to lives count to 5. So player will start off with 5 lives. So let's now modify the UI system, and the way I'll display it is within the main table. We'll have in the left side we'll have the number of lives, on the center of the screen on the top. So this is top of the screen. On the center we'll have the time, and on the right side we'll have the score label. So however, we want to add multiple things to the lives. First of all, we want to have a label saying lives, and then we want to have multiple images of the heart, either empty or full. So to do this, we will use a new table inside there. It's going to be lives table, and I'll create here a new label, lives label, saying lives and space, label style, and lives table. We'll add the lives label. Then we'll specify here that we'll have list of image objects, Java util list, lives images. And we'll create it here, lives images, array list, and we'll have 5 of them, so we'll predefine. And we'll create 5 image objects. So we'll have image, live image. We'll not pass any drawable here because in initialize we don't have all the images loaded yet. We will add this to the list to be able to modify it later. I'll show in a moment. And we'll add it to the lives table. So maybe I'll create it earlier here. Let me move this here. And lives table, add live image. Maybe call it hard images. And hard stable, live stable. Okay. Hard image. Or the heart represents the life. Okay, so now we need to load these. So in this UI system, we'll need a texture atlas registry to be able to specify that we have to load these two images, and texture atlas provider to be able to retrieve them loaded already. So registry, we'll just make let's call it, I don't want to call it UI because it's gonna, if I call it UI, it's gonna clash with the UI in the menu system where we use this label UI. So I'll call it gameplay UI. And in here we will have two images, two paths. The paths are UI/hard PNG and UI/hard empty PNG. Okay, so we are loading them here. And when we have to set them, so we have to set them in two conditions. First of all, whenever player is loaded, after player created, we don't have to specify player, and we have to specify that it's lives component. And second condition when we have to modify it is whenever the lives is modified. And we have to make sure that there is a player component on it and lives. In here we don't have to check that the player is there because this event is only called on something that has a player in it. So, okay, and update lives, we'll pass lives here, same here, and we'll create a method. So what we'll do is get lives count, and we'll go through the hard images array. And if lives count is less than, if I is less than hard images, we'll have to render full hard. Lives counts or not. So if there is only one life, then only the first one's going to be filled out, so that with the one in the index of 0, and all the other will be empty. And in here we'll do hard images, get I, set drawable new texture region drawable, and in here we specify texture atlas provider, get texture, gameplay UI, and depending on full hard, maybe I'll just here I'll specify texture region, hard texture. If full hard is true, then we will return maybe string hard texture. We'll return a UI/hard PNG. Otherwise, we'll return UI/hard empty PNG. Okay. That's fine. The problem is, okay, let me run it now. We have to still add it to the table, the main table. So we have the lives table here. We add padding of 10 and say left, and we want to also expand X. So let's run it. Okay, so what we're saying is this images are way too big. We see everything fine. However, this is way too big. So we'll have to modify them here to specify that we want to explicitly state the width and height of them, of those image objects, image like placeholders sort of, where we just specify what should be drawn there. Okay, so let's see how this works now. Okay, this is, maybe I'll make it slightly smaller than 18. Yes, I'll make it slightly smaller than 20, sorry. I'll make it maybe 18. Let's see how that looks. Okay, that looks better, I think. When we finish, it's gonna be that. Okay, so we have the rendering done already. So let me now take care of the fact that whenever player dies, rather than exiting to the main screen, it will go to the restart the level with the one less health. Okay, the way we have done this is gameplay state system said whenever player death, it was saying player dead. That is true, player should be dead. However, we should add a new state here. Player ran out of lives, without lives. Player dead. Oh, there's a typo here. Player without lives, and we'll specify here okay. Player ran out of lives. Okay, and in the, so this was set when player died. So in the health, we'll have a new class, health system. We register it in the gameplay profiles. And receive event, player died, and it has to have the lives component. What we'll do here is we'll decrement the number of lives. And we'll save it. And if the number of lives is equal to 0, we'll send a new event. Where is the player died? Player death. In a very. Let's move it to health. This is health related. And we'll have a new event called player ran out, player without lives. And this system will fire that event when player reaches 0 life. 0 lives. Player entity send player without lives. Player without lives. Okay, so now in the game state switcher, we'll have additional check here. So if is level finished, else if gameplay state is player without lives. So this is going to be done whatever was dead before. Otherwise, if player is not without lives but is also dead, we will just reload the current level. So we'll unload current one and reload it from the start. We do not have to check that it's less because it's going to be the same level that was there already. Okay, so let's check. Let's test it out. Okay, so score still works. I die. Number of lives has decreased by 1. And I cannot move for some reason. Okay. That is interesting. I guess it's debugging time. Okay, so the problem was that whenever level was loaded and after player dies first, second, third, fourth time, the level is loaded, we are not resetting the flag that the player is no longer dead. So what was happening is that the game state switcher was kept unloading and reloading the same level all the time because the flag was not reset. So now that I reset it here, it's properly working. So let's give it a try. Die first time, second time, third, fourth, and last time, and I get back to the screen. And when I start the game, I start with 5 hearts again. And let me try one more thing. So I'll lose 1 life in my first level, and then go to the second level. Oh, for some reason I lost 2 lives there. Let me check again. So lives between levels work fine. However, yes, I lose 2 lives for some reason. Okay, time to debug again. Okay, so what was happening is that whenever player died, we were not unloading the old level, and when we were starting the game again, so pressing the new game button, it was loading level. So what was happening? I had 2 levels in 2 level entities in the context, and as a result, the the death event was sent twice because there were two different bounds specifying where player dies whenever it goes out of bounds. That's why two lives were removed from player whenever player died after restarting starting a new game second time in the same session. So now when I add this, when player dies, I unload the level, and when I restart the game again, I have just one level in memory, in the context, entity context, and everything works fine. Let me show you. Okay, so I die a couple of times, start a new game, and I die, and just one heart is deducted from my lives. When I go to the next level, I can keep losing, and everything is working fine. Okay, that's it for this episode. Make sure to like it and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.